Ellie said, we are looking at the effect of FinTech on savings, borrowing, and investment decisions in sub-Saharan Africa. And I'm presenting on behalf of my colleagues from Ghana Communication Technology University in Ghana. All right. So this is the outline of the presentation. Basically, when you take Africa, and specifically sub-Saharan Africa, FinTech is a big deal, okay, because it has basically changed, a lot of things when it comes to financial services. Africa has one of the lowest, highest unbanked population, okay, but because of FinTech, a lot of people are able to, engage in financial transactions. So over the years, a lot of studies have been conducted on FinTech. For instance, it impacts on businesses in Africa, and then also the factors affecting, adoption of FinTech services. Okay, but there's one aspect that is missing when it comes to the external literature, and that has to do with how FinTech adoption affects the borrowing, investment, and then the savings behavior of individuals. So basically, we sought to look at that. And given that, the population of Africans, especially sub-Saharan Africans, the high level of unbanked population, according to, Bennett, then we sought to find out whether indeed the adoption of FinTech services could, improve borrowing behavior, investment behavior, and then savings behavior as well. Okay, and of course, the idea of, conducting this research is to, contribute to the financial inclusion agenda of African countries. So basically, we sought to find out whether the adoption of FinTech affects savings, investment, and borrowing decisions. And then we also wanted to find out whether there are heterogeneities existing across the countries we use for countries to, conduct our analysis. And basically, the literature, we focus on the key, theory is the financial intermediation theory by Allen and then Santomero. Of course, FinTech here is acting as the digital mediator, okay, between individuals and their ability to access financial services. We also explore some empirical studies in emerging markets like Real Dream and then in Africa. Okay, but you could see that in Africa, not much has been done, especially in sub-Saharan Africa, and that is what really, necessitated this particular study. All right, so as I stated earlier, we focus on 4 sub-Saharan African countries: Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, and then South Africa. And these countries were selected because when it comes to FinTech, these are top, countries. Okay, I think South Africa comes first, followed by Nigeria, Kenya, and then Ghana in that order. So we felt like I think they will be suitable for, the study. And we sampled about 818, participants across these countries, and we employed logistic regression to, model their responses. But before then, we tested for validity of the responses using a number of statistical tools such as VIF, variance inflation factor, and also we tested for multicollinearity using Pearson correlation matrix. Okay, and of course, we also tested for the fitness of the model, and it gave us a good model, which gave us the impetus to go ahead and then test. So as I said, we use logistic regression to test. So we looked at a number of FinTech platforms and the extent to which they, influence, savings, investment, and then borrowing. So we looked at more money transfer payment platforms. We looked at equity, crowdfunding platform, peer-to-peer platforms, and then the robo-advisors platform. And we found out that, in fact, the adoption of mobile money actually encourages borrowing. So those who adopt these platforms are likely to use it to borrow. Okay, and we found that as very, very significant because in Africa, mostly accessing credits from the traditional banks becomes very, very difficult because you need to, provide collateral and a lot of, some form of asset to show that indeed you'll be able to repay back. Okay, so we found that in fact the adoption of mobile money platforms really encourages borrowing. And if you look at the test for heterogeneity, we wanted to see whether there are differences in terms of the adoption of the mobile platforms and then maybe the equity platform and then how it affects the various countries. And we saw that I think there's not much difference between all the 4 countries. Okay, which means that in fact these platforms can be used as a conduit to improve financial inclusion within the sub-Saharan African countries. So basically, our key findings was that individuals who activate and use mobile money transforms are likely to use those platforms to borrow and engage in other financial platforms. And as I stated, heterogeneities exist across the countries. There are few heterogeneities, but the differences are not really they are minor. Okay, and the study, well, our findings basically are in tandem with studies by Alliance and then Kell, okay, who have all found in other jurisdictions that indeed FinTech could promote financial behavior such as savings, investment, and borrowing. And there are some few limitations with this study, okay, and it has to do with the fact that we use survey data, and survey data is subject to self-reporting bias. Okay, so maybe in future, maybe longitudinal study may be conducted on this to see the effect of FinTech on these savings and investment behaviors. And of course, we also focus on only 4 sub-Saharan African countries because of our inability to gather data across all the countries. We have about more than 40 countries, but we couldn't collect data across all those countries. So in future, maybe researchers may want to expand the scope. Okay, and then in future, researchers may also want to look at its effect on the adoption of FinTech and its effect on remittances. We focus only on savings, borrowing, and then investment. Maybe future studies may also include remittances. So basically, this is the summary of our work, and it is still work in progress. We intend to collect more data to improve it. Thank you very much. Yes. So please, yes, that is a summary of it. I'm done. If there's any question or comments.
Thank you, Dr. Thomas.